class object is created. Utility package is imported here for using scanner class. So scanner class object is created and it is connected to the keyboard default input device. And int x comma y, to accept two integers from the user, two variables are declared, and to store the sum, a variable s1 is declared here. Okay, s1. So we have to display the messages interactively. System.out.println, enter a number, a message will be displayed on the screen. To accept the number, say x equal to sc.nextInt. NextInt method is used to accept the number. X equal to sc.nextInt. So first number is accepted and second number will accept and store it in y. So the message should be displayed as system.out.println. Enter the second number or enter another number. Enter another number. So that number will be accepted and stored in y. So y equal to scanner classes nextInt method is used. So why am I writing all these statements or programs on the board and explaining each and every line? Because you should understand how to write a program. Okay, we don't know what kind of questions will be asked for board exam, because a question which is asked this year may not be asked next year. Okay, they will be making new different questions, but you should get the logic. You should be able to solve the given problem and you should know how to write the program. That's what I am writing each and every step on the board and explaining it to you. Okay, listen carefully. So enter another number. Second number we are accepting and storing in y. Y equal to sc.nextInt. So we have accepted the values for x and y. Already we have written a function named as calculate sum in the class. I just would like to call that method to find out the sum of the two numbers x and y and get the result back in main method and display it on the screen. So calculate sum is a non-static method. Main is a static method. What is the speciality of static methods? If there is a static method in a class, you will be able to invoke that method without creating an object manually. Okay, immediately after compiling the class, you will be able to, on right clicking the compiled class icon, you will be able to see the main method in the list in the pop-up menu. So select the main method from the pop-up menu. So through main method, we will create the object of the class and call or activate or invoke calculate sum method. Okay. So now this is static method. In the static method, to invoke the non-static method, we have to create an object of the class. How do we create an object of a class? Alan Kuttukaran, tell me. Alan Kuttukaran, are you there? Alan Kuttukaran. Alan Robbins. How do you create an object of the class? To create an object of the class, the syntax used is class name space object name equal to new class name followed by empty parenthesis. Okay, actually it is the constructor we are calling. Later on in the coming chapter we will learn about the constructors. Okay, now to create an object of the class named sum, syntax used is sum type object, this class type, this particular class type, an object has to be created. So class name followed by object name. Say object name I am giving as obj1 equal to, the keyword used for creating an object is new keyword, new followed by the class name new sum opening and closing bracket, statement terminator. So you created an object of the sum class. Actually what happens in the memory is, an object with the name obj1 one will be created in the memory when this particular statement is executed. Okay, obj1. Along with this object, this method also will be copied. So when you right click on this object, you will be able to see calculate sum method. Calculate sum method. Okay, so calculate sum method, actually when you create manually an object and right click on the created object, you will be able to see the calculate sum method. But here we are not creating manually, objects are not created manually, through commands we create the object. Okay, so this command will create an object automatically. And to invoke, as we are not creating object manually, we will not be able to right click on the created object and select the method. So to call the method, to call this instance method, this method is available with the subject. Okay, with the subject this method is available. So to invoke this method, object name dot method name, the syntax used is object name dot method name. So we have to call calculate sum method through this object. Here there is object name dot method name is the syntax used for invoking a non-static method. Okay, so we'll just call the method by specifying object name obj1 dot method name is calculate sum. obj1 dot calculate sum, and to this method we have to pass two values, because this function has two arguments a and b, and the values we have already accepted from the user and stored it in the variables x. First value is stored in the variable x and the second value is stored in the variable y. So these two variables values have to be passed to this function. These two variables should be given to the function. So okay, whenever you want to find out the sum of any two integers, you can create an object of this class and invoke this calculate sum method. So in the main method, we have written command to create the object of the class. Object name is obj1, and to invoke the calculate sum method, obj1 dot calculate sum. Now, it is not only that you are calling calculate sum method, you have to provide the value also to this method. And what are the values to be added? The values to be added is stored in the variables x and y. So, calculate sum x comma y. You are calling calculate sum method of the object 1 and giving two values to it. So, calculate sum method of the object 1 will get, it has two arguments. Which are the arguments? A and B. A gets the value of x, the value of x will be copied to A, value of y will be copied to B. So, when this method is called, control goes to this function. Okay. A gets the value of x and B gets the value of y, and the statements, the body of the function will be executed. Int s equal to a plus b will be calculated, and then return s. See, its return value is integer type. This function accepts two values and returns the calculated result. So, public int, return data type is int. Access specifier, modifier, return data type, name of the function followed by the list of arguments. This is a syntax for writing a function. Okay, writing the prototype of a function. So, the return data type of the function is int. This function gives back the calculated result. So, calculated result is stored in S, return the value of S to the part of the program from where it is called. Okay. So calculated sum will be returned to here. When the value is returned from a function, it should be accepted and stored in the main method. For that, there is a variable declared S1 of integer type. What kind of value is coming back from this function? Integer type of value is coming back from this function. So, to accept and store an integer value, integer type S1, a variable S1 is declared. So, here S1 equal to obj dot calculate sum. So, you are invoking the calculate sum method and giving the values of x and y to that method. So, method performs the calculation and returns the result back to the same place where the method is called. And so, that value will be stored in S1. Now, what we have to do? We have to display the calculated sum. So, system.out.println sum equal to, where is the sum received in the main method? S1, isn't it? Plus S1. Main method is closed, class is closed. Main method is closed, class is closed. So, how do you execute this program? This is a simple program, Write a program to calculate, write a program with a function, calculate sum to calculate or to find the sum of any two integer numbers, any two given integers, and write a main method also to invoke the calculate sum method. Question is like this: write a class to find out, write a class called sum to calculate the sum of any two integers. So, a non-static method should be written, and also write a main method to invoke the non-static method sum, calculate sum method. Okay. So, once more with an example I will explain. So, write this program and compile the class, right click and select main method. So, automatically when the main method is selected, the statements written inside the main method will start executing. Already I have told you that when you write a standalone program or application in Java, there should be a method named as main, and main method should be public, it should be static, and it should not return any value, void, return data type should be void. Because when you develop a software for real life application and your software will be displayed as an icon on the desktop of your customer. So, when the customer double clicks on the icon on the desktop, your operating system will search for a method named as main, because operating system knows only about main method. So, if there is a main method, operating system is an outsider, not BlueJ or not Java, it is nothing related to Java. So, an outsider is invoking main method. So, for that it should be declared as public. We have to provide accessibility to the main method as public, then only operating system will be able to call the main method. And in the operating system there are no facilities to handle the calculated result or the values coming back from the main method. So, the main method should not return any value to the calling operating system. So, it should be declared as void, and we cannot tell operating system to create an object of the class in which main method is declared. So, without creating object itself, operating system should be able to invoke the main method. Because of that, main method is declared as public, static, public. All are able to access this method. There is no restriction in accessing this method. No need to create an object of the class to invoke main method, and it does not return any value. Name of the method is main. Okay. Already these things are discussed. Scanner class type object is created. Three variables are declared. First two variables x and y are for accepting two values from the user and to store the result in sum S1. And to avoid the confusion only I gave the name S1 because S already we have used in calculate sum. Now a message is displayed to accept the data interactively from the user. Enter a number. Imagine that user has entered the number, user has entered the value, say user has entered the value 10 for x, and second message is displayed, enter another number. So user has entered the value 5 for y. Let us take simple values. Okay. So in x 10, y 5, and we created an object of the class, because to this method is non-static method. To access the non-static method, we have to create an object. Along with the object only non-static method will be created. So to create an object of the class, the syntax used is class name followed by object name equal to new keyword actually creates the object, new sum, class name followed by empty parenthesis. So an object like this is created. When the object is created, a copy of this method also will be created with the object. Okay. Now what we have to do is, we have to call calculate sum method and pass the value of x and y to that method. So syntax for calling a non-static method through object is object name followed by method name, obj1.calculateSum. And what are the values to be passed? We have stored those values in x and y. So provide the variables, list of variables x, y. The value of x will be copied. When this method call is executed, control goes from here. From here, control jumps from here to the calculate sum method. Okay, calculate sum method. Control goes from here or jumps from here to the calculate sum method. This is the calculate sum method. And the value of x will be copied to A, value of y will be copied to B. So value of x is 10. A gets the value 10, B gets the value 5. B gets the value 5. Okay. And in the method, as once we reach to a method, its body will be executed. Int s equal to, another variable is declared to store the sum, s equal to a plus b, 10 plus 5, 15. 15 is calculated here. And 15 is stored in s. Return s. Return the value of s to the calling part, to the main method. So once all these statements are executed, when return command is seen, control will jump back to the part of the program from where it is called. It will come back. It will come back to this place along with the value of s. What is the value of s? 15. To this place, the value 15 will be returned. Okay. So when a value is returned from a function, we have to accept it and handle it. We have to accept it and handle it. Either you can display it directly in the system.out.println command, or you can use that value returned from a method in a calculation, or you can store that value in a variable and display the variable by using system.out.println command. Okay. So value 15 is returned to this particular path. So that value is assigned, stored in a variable s1. Okay. Now we are going to display the value system.out.println sum equal to s1. Main method's execution is completed, its body is closed, and the class is also closed. You can create any number of objects of this class. We have created only one object here. You can create one more object if you want. Some type obj2 equal to new sum. So another object will be created with the name obj2, and you can invoke the calculate sum method of obj2 with the syntax obj2.calculateSum and pass the values to it. Okay. Any number of objects can be created. So in this, I would like to explain you the concept of actual parameter and formal parameter. I hope everybody understood how calculate sum method is invoked by creating object in the main method, and how the values are got back to the main method. Okay. So the variables declared at the function prototype A and B are known as formal parameters. Variables declared at the function prototype are known as formal parameters. Formal parameters. Formal parameters are A and B. A comma B. Variables used at the function call. Variables used at the function call. Which are the variables used at the function call? Gayatri, tell me which are the variables used at the function call? Gayatri, are you there? Which are the variables used at the function call? When you called the function, calculate sum, which are the variables used? A and B are the variables in the function prototype. Am I right? A and B are known as formal parameters. Variables declared at the function prototype are known as formal parameters. From where did we invoke the function calculate sum? Where did we call the function calculate sum? Obj1 dot calculate sum. Am I right? Here is the method call given in the program. We called the calculate sum through the statement object dot method name. Am I right? And which are the variables used there? X and Y. So variables used at the time of calling a method are known as actual arguments because they contain the real value to be processed. X and Y contain the real values to be processed. When you pass these values to these variables, when this function is called, then only these variables will be created in the memory. If this function is not called at all, A and B will not be created in the memory. A and B will not get any value. If once you call this method and give the value to it, then only these variables will be created in the memory. Okay. The actual value to be processed is stored in X and Y. So they are known as actual parameters. Actual arguments or parameters. Actual arguments are X comma Y. Actual arguments means the variables used at the function call. When you call a method, which are the variables used at that statement? In that statement is known as actual parameters, which contain the real value to be processed. We want to add the values of X and Y. Am I right? The original value is stored in X and Y. When we invoke the main method, X and Y will be created in the memory. The variable X and Y will be created. The values accepted from you will be stored in X and Y. Okay. And when you want to find out the sum of these two values, you are calling calculate sum method. Whenever you want to find out the sum of these two values, you are calling calculate sum method. Then only the variables A and B will be created in the memory. Initially, how the execution of this program takes place is, write the program, compile the class and right click on the compiled class and call main method. No need to create the object manually. So you called the main method. So our program execution starts from the main method, isn't it? And here in the program execution, when it started, we created an object of scanner class SC. We have int x comma y comma s1, three variables are created in the memory. X, that's a storage location X. Y, another storage location Y, another storage location S1. Three storage locations are created in the memory. Okay, when the main method started execution, and through the message you are prompting the user to enter a value, and that value is stored in X. So initially we have the original value to be processed is stored in X, and the second number, enter the second value. Second value is accepted and stored in Y. They contain the original values which have to be processed. Okay. Now we want to find out the sum of these two numbers. We already know that there is a method written in the class. Its name is calculate sum method. So we don't have to write the statements to find out the sum here in the main method. We can just call that method. If there is somebody to do a task for us, why should we take the strain of doing the addition? We can just call that person. Am I right? If somebody is there to help us in doing some task, we can seek the help of that person. Similarly, there is a method in this class to find out the sum of two numbers. So whenever we have to find out the sum of x and y, we can just call that method. So to call that method, but that method is an instance method. When you create an object of the class, then only through that object only you will be able to invoke that method. So you go for object creation. To create an object of the class, syntax is class name followed by object name equal to new keyword class name empty braces. Okay. So object is created and the syntax is object name dot method name. So object 1 dot calculate sum. Not only simply calling the method, you have to provide the value. You have to give the values to the method. You call to somebody, hey, come here, perform the addition. So without giving the numbers to that person, he will not be able to perform the addition, isn't it? So you have to give the values to the method. Where are the values stored? Original values to be processed. They are in x and y. Okay. So we have to tell the function to pass the values of x and y to it. Okay. Obj1 dot calculate sum x comma y. Value of x will be. So when this method call is executed, when this command is executed, control will jump from here to the calculate sum method. And what happens when control comes here? Compiler sees that there are Java virtual machine sees that there are two variables. Two variables are required in the memory. Okay, a and b, because two values are coming from x and y. So when control jumps to this function, two more variables will be created in the memory named as a and b. A and b. A and b. Okay. Two more variables are created in the memory. This is function variables, function arguments. Okay. And value of x will be copied to a, the first variable. Value of y will be copied to b, the second variable. So a gets the value of x and b gets the value of y. Understood? So a duplicate copy of values takes place in the memory. Am I right? In two places now we have 10 and 5 stored. One is in the main. The original values are stored in the variables x and y, and we gave a copy of it to the function to perform the addition. In the function, we have the variables a and b to store those values, accept and store the values. So here a and b gets the value only when the function is called. Original values are stored in x and y. So x and y are used at the function call. So the variables which contains the original values to be processed, which are used at the time of calling the function as parameters, are known as actual arguments. They contain the real value to be processed. Okay. When this function when these variables are created, only when this function is invoked, if the user invokes, if your main function invokes this method, then only these variables will be created in the memory. And they will be alive only when the function is invoked. So they are known as formal parameters. Formal parameters are the parameters declared at the function prototype. They will be created in the memory only when that particular function is called. Okay. If the function is not called, formal parameters will not be created in the memory. Is it clear? Alan Robbins, actual parameters and formal parameters. You tell me what is the difference between actual parameters and formal parameters. Hello, Ellen Robbins. Did you understand? Ellen Robbins, are you there? Anne P. Joy. No response. Ebita. Maria Denny. These children are not there or what? Jaswin. Jaswin, are you there?
Yes, miss.
Jaswin, tell me, what is actual parameter and what is formal parameter?
Formal parameters are the variables that we declare during the method.
At the function prototype, isn't it? Variables declared at the function prototype are known as formal parameters. Why are they called as formal parameters? Because they will be alive. They are created in the memory only when that function is called. If that function is not called at all, these variables will not be created. Okay. They get life only when it is called, when the function is called. Because of that, they are known as formal parameters. Okay. Which are actual parameters?
Actual parameters are those which are declared during the function call.
The variables used at the function call. Used at the function call. The variables which are used at the function call, which contain the original value to be processed, are known as actual parameters. They contain the real value to be processed. Even if the function is not called also, these variables are created in the memory. Am I right? Hello? Even if this method is not called, x and y are already created in the memory. They contain the original value to be processed. So, the variables used at the method call are known as actual parameters. Okay? So, ICSE question, 2 marks question, differentiate between actual parameters and formal parameters. 2 marks question. This question is asked many times. What differentiate between actual parameters and formal parameters? Actual parameters are the list of variables used at the method call or at the time of calling the function. The variables used at the method call are known as actual parameters, and the parameters or variables used at the function prototype is known as formal parameters. Okay, variables declared at the function prototype are known as formal parameters, and the variables used at the method call are known as actual parameters. Okay, is it clear? Is it clear for everybody? Amlyn Johnson, are you there? Amlyn. So is it clear for you what is the difference between actual parameters and formal parameters? What is it? Tell me.
Actual parameters are the variables used at the method calling.
Function call. Variables used at the function call are known as actual parameters. Okay. They contain the real value to be processed. Okay. Then
variables declared at the method definition.
Function definition or function prototype. Function prototype are known as formal parameters. They will be alive or they will be created in the memory only when that method is called. Okay. When that method's execution is completed once, when we return from this method back to the main method to execute the remaining statements, those variables will be deleted from memory. Once if you come back from the method, you executed all these commands and return, yes, okay, we came back to the main method. Now, A and B will not remain in the memory. They will be erased from the memory. They have the life only they have only the life they have the life only when the method is alive in the memory. Once if the method's execution is completed, they will be removed from the memory. Okay. So formal parameters will be there in the memory, will be created in the memory only when the method is called. Once if the method's execution is over, all the variables declared in the method, here there is a local variable also s. That variable also will be removed from the memory, and A and B also will be removed from the memory. So now I just would like to talk to you about some concept: local variable, global variable and instance variable. Okay, instance variable. So actual parameters and formal parameters, it is clear to you. Am I right? So let me discuss the next topic. Local variable, global variable and instance variable. Global variable or instance variable, parameters, local variables. Okay. Suppose if I declare a variable here, say int z, this z is accessible. This variable is declared at the beginning of the class. Variable z is declared at the beginning of the class. Am I right? Variable z is declared at the beginning of the class. The variable declared at the beginning of the class are known as instance variable. With each object, a copy of this variable will be created. They are also known as global variable. Instance variable. Instance. With each object will have a copy of it. Instance variable. Instance variable. Z is known as instance variable. And Z is declared within this block. Here the block opens and ends here. So you can use the variable Z directly here. Say Z equal to 55. You can use the variable Z in this function because it is declared already. Its scope is limited to the class. Throughout the class, this variable is available. In all the methods, you can make use of Z because it is declared before all the functions, before you start defining all the functions. So, the variables declared at the beginning of the class, before you start declaring any function, are known as instance variable or global variable. Global variable. Instance variable or global variable. So, you will be able to, its life or its scope. Scope means where this particular variable is available. Its scope is limited to the class. From here it starts and it ends here. So, that variable is known to all the methods declared or defined in the class. A variable declared at the beginning of the class before you start the definition of all the functions is available throughout all the methods till the end of the class. So, variable is known to all the methods in the block. Okay. So, this variable you can use here z equal to 55. In this method also z equal to 100. You can refer to the variable without declaring because it is known to all the methods. It is declared at the beginning of the class. So, this variable is known as global variable or instance variable. It is available throughout the class. Okay. Now, a variable, here you can see int s. Int s is a special variable declared within this method. Okay. Only this function knows about the variable s. When this function is called, only this variable s will be created. It is known as, s is known as local variable. Local variable. Local variable. A variable declared within a block or a function is known as local variable, local to that function or local to that block. Its scope is limited to this particular function only. S is available only within these two braces. Okay. The block in which a variable is declared, its scope is limited to that particular block only. S is declared within this block. So, S is available only within this block. Okay. Likewise, parameters of a function A and B are available only within this function. A and B are available only within this function. Outside of it, A and B, you cannot refer to A and B outside of this method. So, these are the parameters of a function. Parameters of a function are available only within that function, and the variables declared within a function or within a block is available only in that block. S is not known to main method. S is known to only this block. Whereas Z is known to this method, Z is known to main method, okay, because Z is declared globally. Here also there are local variables x, y and s1. X, y and s1 are declared within this block. Here the block starts, and this block, main methods block, ends here, isn't it? So, x, y and s1 are available only in the main method. They are local to the main method. So, a variable scope is limited to the block in which it is declared, okay. It is not available outside that block. So, if the variable is declared at the beginning of the class, here the block starts here, okay, and ends here only. So, this variable is known to all the methods in the class. You can access or you can refer this variable or you can use this variable anywhere in this class. So, they are known as, this variable is known as global variable or instance variable, okay. Variables declared at the beginning of the class, it will be copied with each object of the class. Each object of the class will have its own copy. So, they are known as instance variable, okay. And variables declared in the parameters list are local to the function. Only this function knows about A and B. Outside of this function, other functions, they will not get the value of A and B, because A and B will be alive only when the function is called. So, only A and B knows about, A and B is known to only calculate some method, okay. S is a variable declared within this block. So, S is available only within this block. S is not available outside of it, okay. X, Y is S1. These three are declared in the main method. So, they are available, they are local to the main method. X, Y and S1 are local to the main method. S is local to the calculate sum method. A and B are the function parameters, they are available only to that method. And Z is the global variable or instance variable, and it is known to all the method because the block, the area is wide, okay. It is available throughout the class. The block in which Z is declared begins here and ends here only, understood? So, that is about scope of the variables. Let me go through the textbook, your 9th grade textbook. Invoking static and non-static methods we have already discussed. Is there the next person? You are the 9:30? Okay. So, today what you have to do is, time is up. We will go through the topics from the textbook. I will read the topics in the coming class. This week we have 3 classes. So, in the coming class, I will read the portions from the text. Before that, you can go through those topics. 6.4.1, invoking static and non-static methods. Method main, just go through it, otherwise you will forget. Method main, and then actual parameters and formal parameters. 6.4.2. Okay. These are the topics, not only that. Scope of the variable 6.6, page number 119. 6.6, scope of the variables. That topic also you have to just go through. Need not go through the program. The textual explanation you have to go through. I will read the text for you in the coming class and will clarify the doubts if there is any, and the programs discussed also will be discussed in the class. Today what you have to do is, You have to write this program and do it in your computer. Sum, class sum, and two methods, calculate sum and main method. Today itself you should do, and do one thing. After doing it, you send me the screenshot. Message me the screenshot personally. I want to make sure that you are all practicing whatever programs are discussed in the class. From today onwards, whatever program I am discussing in the class or I am asking you to practice at home, you have to do it in the computer. Take the screenshot and message to me personally. Okay, not in the group, message to me personally. It is compulsory because attendance is compulsory. As father has told, we have to send the attendance to board.